I wanted to do something for my grandma.
Grandma, Janet Dean, battled breast cancer for 23 years.
When she was diagnosed with stage 4, I said, do you want to go somewhere? What do you want to do? I said, now's the time. And she said, I just want to watch the boys grow.
When people drive through town, a lot of them say it's a cute town, but where are the people? That's when the town was really booming, and that whole time period's gone. You know, the town is now shrunk to barely existing.
Well, from spots around town like the Jocelyn Art Museum to your neighbor's front and backyard, pollinator gardens are popping up all over the metro.
There's always different people in terms of, you know, just do they like it to be very manicured or do they like a more wild look? But I just think that, you know, we're not the only inhabitants on this land.
From 3 News Now and the Omaha World-Herald, this is Omaha Sunday Morning with Jennifer Griswold.
Good morning and thanks for joining us this Sunday. I'm Jennifer Griswold. It's a slightly startling sight for first-time visitors to a tiny town in the Sandhills. Dozens of ghostly figures spotted all over town. Kids with fishing poles, a lamplighter on evening rounds. The villagers, as they are called, serve a purpose. And Omaha World-Herald visual journalist Rebecca Gratz made the trip to Taylor, Nebraska to meet their creator.
When people drive through town, a lot of them say it's a cute town, but where are the people? I actually had that as a statement from a tourist. It's a cute town, but where are the people? So that was also part of the brainstorm when I put them up. Let's put the people back up. Let's put plywood people up in replacement of the live people that should be around here. Our historic landmark is the Pavilion Hotel. That structure was built in 1887. If you look at Taylor's history, it's during that era that we had the most people. That's when the town was really booming, and that whole time period's gone. You know, the town is now shrunk to barely existing. I also was going for a look that would be a glimpse of the past. So, like, oh my goodness, I just saw something that didn't belong in this era. And so the black and white was to stand out from the color background and whatever else was happening. And I kind of was working on the whole, it was a spirit from the past. For some reason, I don't know, I just think your paint moves really, really well with your fingers. I love this town. We moved here in 1990. I love the old-fashioned values that this community had when we moved here. I loved that I felt like I had just gone back in time. In some ways, I wanted to recreate it. I wanted to see it happen again. But I financially couldn't make that happen. So I'm doing it in plywood people.
The first villager appeared in 2003, and now there are around 100 throughout the community of Taylor and Loup County. It is a heartbreaking story that touched all of Omaha in April. A young student killed after getting off the school bus. Now other students are working to help his family heal with an extra dose of kindness. 8-year-old Haji Muhammad was struck and killed by the school bus he had just gotten off of when he darted across Sprague Street after school. This week, North High School students used the tragedy to teach others about compassion. Their message for Haji's family: we are with you. Students with the Black Student Leadership Council put together a basket for his family. They purchased tulips and wrote words of encouragement and scripture from the Quran.
One of our goals for BSLC for this year was to be more involved in our community and not just like inbound, like where the community comes into us. We wanted to do more things like helping people in need.
We just want to give back to the family, just be the support group for them.
The students also made a prayer board filled with words of encouragement for his school, Springville Elementary. It's graduation season in Omaha. Caps, gowns, diplomas, degrees, and parties. And recently, a very special woman received high honors at the ceremony for Nebraska Methodist College. 3 News Now anchor Craig Negrelli has her story.
LaToya Sharp was all smiles as she accepted her degree at St. Andrew's United Methodist Church, and it's been a long journey.
One of the most wonderful days of my life.
It began in 2012 when Sharp and her young son moved from Texas to Omaha. He was very sick and not only needed a liver transplant, but also was diagnosed with acute chronic respiratory failure. Nebraska Medicine assigned him a respiratory therapist, a guy named Mitch Jamison. He showed empathy, kindness, and gave encouragement to the boy and his worried mom.
The respiratory team that actually had the most impact over my son's care and then me as well. And the moment I met him, I just knew he wasn't a regular therapist. Like, he was just not a regular hospital staff member. He was going above and beyond.
And that's when LaToya Sharp got the idea. What better way to care for her son during his recovery and beyond than become a respiratory therapist herself? In 2015, she gave up her sales job and enrolled at Nebraska Methodist College. Years of training and studying led to this moment.
Happy graduation, sweetheart. How you doing?
That's her mentor, Mitch Jamison, surprising her at a pre-graduation reception this week. The same man who was her son's respiratory therapist years ago. And now she's following in his footsteps in a job that requires a kind, caring attitude.
I'm just really proud of her. She's done such a good job. She's come so far.
Everything he did was with love.
Way to go. LaToya Sharp begins her new job at Nebraska Medicine in June. Everyone has heard of Oprah, but few may know that the second wealthiest black woman in America is a native of Omaha. Catherine Hughes is the chairwoman of Urban One, the nation's largest distributor of radio, TV, and digital programming for black audiences. Hughes grew up in North Omaha and was back for a few days for a keynote speech at the Empowerment Network's Rebuilding the Village conference and a fun roast in her honor at the Omaha Press Club.
Every place I go, I talk about Omaha, Nebraska. I used to really take it personally and get upset when there would be comedians on television that thought it was funny to say, oh, you must be from Omaha. I'm like, yeah. And proudly, all right. Thank God Johnny.
Hughes will join Oprah Winfrey in the nation's capital next month for a women's summit on entrepreneurship. Hughes was the first black graduate of Duchesne Academy in Omaha. She's reportedly worth nearly $500 million. We are just 1 week away from the unofficial start to summer, and the spring bloom is in full swing. This year, more people are choosing to ditch the weed eater and yard treatments, instead letting nature do its thing. Why they say it's a new passion with a big purpose. After what seemed like a never-ending winter, signs of spring are in full bloom around the metro. May ushered in sunshine and warmer temps. Flowers and plants are in full bloom, and gardeners are hard at work. 3 News Now reporter Lindsay Thies spoke with one expert who's urging green thumbs to think less about pretty flowers and more about a growing trend.
So I've got lots of different garden patches around my yard because I like it to have like a natural flowy look.
Aubrey Rui has let her yard go wild, from dandelions to creeping Charlies, even the trees. The variety of plant life,
I'd say over 100 for sure,
serves a purpose.
This white clover will send up spikes of white flowers in the summer, and so bees will just be all over my yard.
Rui's yard also serves as a pollinator garden, composed of different vegetation to attract bugs. Bees, caterpillars, butterflies, for example. They lay their eggs and have habitats on weeping willows and cherry trees. Dr. Ted Burke studies local butterfly populations and says that this time of year is ideal to plant and is crucial to insect species.
Both butterflies and bees populations have been declining pretty dramatically over the last couple of decades. So anything we can do in our backyards or gardens or parks to kind of help boost up pollinator populations, including butterflies, can really be a big difference.
It's not just for the health of the animals. Dr. Burke says it's good for everyone's yards too.
Something like 80% of all flowering plants are pollinated by insects.
I mean, there's always different people in terms of, just do they like it to be very manicured or do they like a more wild look? But I just think that, we're not the only inhabitants on this land.
As for Aubrey Rui, she says she welcomes the wild pollinator gardens and all that comes with it. even if there was one thing that her family had to adapt to.
How are your allergies?
I take allergy medicine. My husband and I both take allergy medicine for sure.
Some general tips for your pollinator garden. Milkweed is great for monarch butterflies. Caterpillars like carrots, and Dr. Burke says leave your dead brush and plants from winter out. They help the soil and can be places for pollinating bugs to lay eggs. It may be spring, but the temps are warmer than normal and rain is likely for the week. From a senior class prank that even had the police laughing to a surprise puppy reveal. Here's a look at the viral videos from this week. First, take a listen to this.
Laurel. Laurel.
Do you hear the word Laurel or Yanny? I'm Team Yanny. It's the question that's been blowing up the internet in our newsroom all week. Everyone's talking about this, right? Audio experts say recording quality and similar frequency patterns in the words might explain the debate. Either way, it has definitely kept everyone entertained this week. Now, how do you know if you've pulled off a truly great senior class prank? Look at this, when even police give you props for it. That's what happened to the seniors at Wisconsin's Cumberland High School. The students faked a car crashing into the side of the school using a tarp, tape, some bricks, and part of a car. The prank went viral after the Cumberland Police Department posted pics on Facebook, calling it one of the best they'd ever seen. Awesome, they're good sports about it. And it's a puppy. Yep, this new dog mom in Texas had a gender reveal style photo shoot to introduce her new pup. How cute. Joy Stone's adorable shoot came courtesy of her friend and photographer Carly Allen. Stone kept the shoot a secret from her husband, later surprising him. The adopted pup, named Ray, was one of 5 found abandoned alongside a railroad track. These pics are adorable. Both Allen and Stone are hoping their viral fame will inspire future pet owners to adopt animals. Still ahead on Omaha Sunday Morning, from Texas to a sea of red, Husker hype is already in full swing as fans count down the days until the new Scott Frost team takes the field. And among the hopeful players, a young man from Texas. His story coming up. We haven't even officially hit summer, but here in Nebraska, that doesn't matter. The countdown is already on for fall and football. All eyes are on the Huskers as the Scott Frost era gets underway. And among the class of recruits, a young man from Texas who has coach and fans excited for the future. Omaha World-Herald visual journalist Brendan Sullivan has his story.
High school football in Texas is a religion. I had talked to Maurice about it. I said, man, you coming from Cali now, you coming to a whole different aspect of the game. And he didn't care. He was like, football is football to me, and I'm gonna come out here and shine and do my thing.
My name is Maurice Washington. I play for Trinity Christian in Cedar Hill, Texas. Now we playing running back in Nebraska. Honestly, I was just so looking forward more to college than even the pros, just because the college atmosphere is so different and it's so amazing, and the fans and everything is just great. And I wanted to be in that environment.
He's gonna be a competitor. He's gonna work hard, and he always plays with a chip on his shoulder. And he's a kid with great character and just love the game of football.
Started playing football when I was 7 years old. I still remember my whole first year. I never got tackled once. My whole first year playing football, I never got tackled once. And I was like, wow, this sport is so cool. The thing of football that I love so much is just having a bunch of dudes around you all working at the same time for the same goal. And it's like a beautiful, just great symphony that just comes together and you just break people's heads open. Seeing my dad go to the league and then seeing my uncle go to the league was like, okay, that's the life I want for myself. Nobody's gonna replace my dad. Even if you tell me you're not here to replace my dad, just nobody's gonna replace my dad. And With my grandpa passing too, it was just like, because I'm the last one in my family now with my name. And so that was hard too. I need to represent my name in a good way. But also, I don't want to be like my dad, I want to be better than my dad. And that's just honest. I just want to be better in every way so I can make him proud, so he can say that he raised a great child. Some people do work their life to win the state championship. Like, that's what they go to high school for. That's not why I played high school football. I played high school football to get to the next level. There's a lot of schools that just try to sneak their way in at the end that I was just like, yeah, get out of here. But no, Nebraska was there before. And that was huge for me, because I don't want you trying to eat off my plate. Like, I want you to eat with me, not off of me. I'm trying to find my why right now. That's the situation. I'm just trying to figure out why am I doing all this? Like, what is it for? Am I doing it just to say I went to the league? Am I doing it because I want to provide for my family, or am I doing it for the money? I don't know why I'm doing it. I just got to figure that out. I think for every down portion in life, there's an up. As long as you don't give up and keep trying, there's going to be an up, hopefully, somewhere.
He's been through a lot. Nebraska football and its fans may have to wait a bit to see Washington in a red and white uniform. He's working on improving his academic standing to be able to join his classmates on the field. The countdown is on, with just weeks until baseball takes over downtown Omaha. The College World Series is less than a month away. And for fans coming back to the Metro, the landscape has changed. From the techy new apartment complex 1415 at the Yard to the new Kiewit headquarters, North Downtown has seen development. The area has steadily grown since TD Ameritrade Park was built a little less than a decade ago.
It's filling in. The amount of apartments coming down here is really, it's made daily activity a little bit more. It seems like there's a lot more conventions in town with the added hotels. And then with Peter Kiewit opening their space and some other businesses, it just has made it more active.
College World Series officials say to stay tuned in the next week to find out what will be new with the games this year. Life lessons aren't always taught in the classroom. Coming up, how Omaha students are learning to keep the peace among their friends with the help of horses. An Omaha Sunday Morning continues. It's perhaps the greatest fraud in the history of the Silicon Valley tech boom. This Sunday, 60 Minutes investigates the failed biotech company Theranos. Stanford University dropout Elizabeth Holmes created the innovative blood testing company. In 2 years, the company's value grew larger than Uber or Spotify at the time. But then it all came crashing down. Nora O'Donnell gives us a sneak peek.
I had a personal relationship with Elizabeth. She was close to my family, and I felt like she was deceiving my family and the public.
And almost every media outlet, including us here at CBS, bought into the Theranos myth.
She's on the cover of magazines. Inc. calls her the next Steve Jobs. Do you think the board of Theranos believed she could be also that kind of revolutionary leader?
Yeah, definitely. The board was completely sold.
Did your grandfather, George Shultz, think that too?
Definitely, yeah.
As her wealth and reputation soared, Elizabeth Holmes took on the trappings of power. She bragged bulletproof windows were installed in her office, and she traveled with a full-time security detail. Theranos employees told us they were closely watched and required to sign non-disclosure agreements, all reinforced, they said, by a threatening team of lawyers and private investigators. That's why when Tyler Schultz alerted authorities in the spring of 2014, he used a fake name.
Why did you come up with an alias?
I knew how seriously Theranos protected their trade secrets. I knew they would not take it well if they knew that I was talking to regulators.
You can find the full story tonight on 60 Minutes right here on 3 News Now at 6 p.m. Let's face it, no one really likes conflict, but learning how to deal with it and work through a tough situation is an important leadership skill for anyone to have. This week, students at one OPS middle school were tasked to build stronger bonds and hone those leadership skills. It was a workshop of sorts with a twist, a very big twist. 3 News Now morning anchor Emily Zink shows us how some equine education is helping teach students outside of the classroom.
Do your friends ever bicker and you have to step in?
Yeah. It is a lesson in conflict resolution.
Anybody think they could be a conflict manager right now with them?
The task at hand doesn't require these students to rein in their classmates.
Come on, he's not worth it. Stop. Oh gosh.
Instead, the Lewis and Clark 7th graders are trying to defuse a situation between 2 horses.
When you see them biting at each other or going head to head, where do you see something like that at school?
Guidance counselor Josie McDonald says what they learn in the arena at Take Flight Farms transfers back to the classroom.
Like when our friends are like in a conflict, we can separate them and not have no conflict anymore.
But before some students could even participate,
it's scary.
They had to face their fear of horses. Jalen Walker had some good pointers for his classmates.
Walk to them kind of slowly and stay calm and try to get their attention on you instead of each other.
This group was picked to participate based off their leadership skills.
Don't let it bother you, okay?
It was obvious in their interaction with the horses.
I'm hoping that they come back and they see the value of communication, being respectful, but also understanding their surroundings.
Pick a spot in this arena.
Equine education instructor and mental health specialist Jennifer Leverett says her activities aren't just about individual problem solving. They're about facing challenges together.
Hopefully, it also builds a team network. And when they go back to school, maybe they formed better bonds.
They are so sweet and gentle with those horses. What a great program. There's a lot going on in Omaha this week. Here's a look at 3 things you need to know about. La Vista will kick off summer with its annual festival. The Salute to Summer gets underway with the Hometown Heroes event on Thursday at 6 p.m. The weekend-long event includes a car show, community cookout, concert, and fireworks display. And across the river in Iowa, Les Fest will be in full swing. It kicks off Friday, runs through Memorial Day. You can find all the action at Tom Hannafin River's Edge Park. Friday is Disney night, so plan to bring the kiddos along. And the musical Wicked has flown into downtown Omaha. The musical follows the story of how a good and bad witch came to be before Dorothy dropped into Oz. It's incredibly popular. The Broadway tour has come to town 4 times in nearly a decade. It is a great show. It's calling Omaha home for a couple more weeks. A teen's trip with his grandmother led to a different kind of drive. Why he's hoping people will tee it up and take a swing for a good cause when Omaha Sunday Morning continues. A cancer diagnosis can be scary for any family, especially for the young kids. But from one diagnosis is coming support and a new mission. When an Elkhorn teen went with his grandma for her cancer treatment, he felt inspired to make a difference. Now he's holding a golf tournament to benefit patients at the Fred and Pamela Buffett Cancer Center.
13-year-old Ryan Lingelbach beams in photos with pro golfers.
I love golf so much.
He likes to play, too. And that passion fueled an idea.
I wanted to do something for my grandma, and so I told my mom, I said, Mom, I want to do a golf tournament for my grandma.
She was always so proud.
Grandma, Janet Dean, battled breast cancer for 23 years.
When my brothers and I were born, she wanted to keep going because she wanted to be at all of our weddings and dance with us.
This is her a day before her death in 2017. The boys proudly showing her their medals earned playing golf.
She loved these boys more than anything. When she was diagnosed with stage 4, I said, do you want to go somewhere? What do you want to do? I said, now's the time. And she said, I just want to watch the boys grow.
Her family credits a new chemo drug she received at Nebraska Medicine for allowing her to live longer and meet her only granddaughter.
Ryan was just so impressed with how professional the people were, how nice they were to my mom. And he just sat down and he looked around and he goes, Mom, I want to have a golf tournament. I want to help with breast cancer research.
The tournament will be on June 13th at Indian Creek in Elkhorn. His grandma was proud of the very idea of this event.
We told Grandma first, and she had a really big smile on her face when we were in the hospice house. And she was like, and she smiled and said, "You can do this."
Janet Dean isn't here to watch all of Ryan's future tournaments. But maybe, because of him, other families will have a shot at making more memories with those they love.
They are still looking for whole sponsors for the tournament and for people to sign up for golf and food. We have all the details online at 3newsnow.com. The family is donating everything that's raised to the Fred and Pamela Buffett Cancer Center. A special visit turned into a bright spot this week for kiddos at Nebraska Medicine. Omaha police officers pulled off a big surprise for these pediatric patients. Riding in on motorcycles and horses, they gave the kids an opportunity to take pictures on their bikes and pet those patrol horses. Most of these children are recovering from organ transplants or cancer treatments. So Nebraska Medicine says this is a very special moment. The officers say this moment is just as special to them, too.
Interaction with police is it's typically at somebody's very worst. It's the worst time of their life. So anytime that police officers are able to go out and have a positive interaction and see smiles on faces versus crying.
For some of these kids, it is their very first time interacting with police, so parents say they are appreciative of the Omaha Police Department. Wonderful to see those smiles, too. This summer, a national run to honor 20,000 fallen military members will make its way through the Omaha area. But before that happens, some local heroes are getting in on the action. They can't run, but that doesn't mean they've lost the pep in their step to help others. 3 News Now reporter Lindsay Thies shows us how they came together to honor the fallen.
Where's your nose at? Oh, there it is.
99-year-old Leo Bianchi and 2.5-year-old Sage Meyer couldn't have less in common.
I've been around the world twice. Just keep walking.
He's seen the world, and she has so much to see.
That's so good.
But Wednesday, the man from the greatest generation and the little girl from a generation that is yet to be nicknamed took steps together. This is part of a virtual run to remember fallen veterans. Sage, who relies on a walker because she has cerebral palsy, and Leo,
And we're going where now? Going to go back?
who relies on a walker as well, wore bibs for fallen military members.
Vincent E. Parker, U.S. Navy. She is walking. How far are you walking? Can you show us how many miles? 1 mile.
The pair was also joined by fellow veterans, 93-year-old Rosemary Longacre and Dick Prince, who is in his 80s. Some stepped, others scooted. And if they stopped to take a breather along the way, that was okay too. These 4 are proxies for the actual Run for the Fallen. It's a coast-to-coast run honoring 20,000 fallen troops who died while serving their country. The run comes through Nebraska in early June.
They can commit for a little bit of their time. They can you?
You can walk with me.
I can walk with you? Okay.
No.
All right. I'll walk with you.
Okay.
And as we walked together, it was touching to hear from Leo about his memories from the end of World War II.
They said, you can go home, and I was in Tsingtao, China on the Great Wall. And I said, how in the hell am I going to go home? I live in Nebraska.
Simple smiles in between simple steps.
I had a good time, though.
That we are all grateful for, thanks to the sacrifice of those fallen troops being remembered.
Thanks to everyone who serves. The Run for the Fallen is 6,000 miles and will come through Nebraska June 5th through the 9th. It will include a stop at the 8th annual Omaha Storm Chasers Tribute to Fallen Heroes. Murphy knows when it's time for a run. He knows what drawer his mom's running gear is in. He knows why she's packing water and cookies. The 1.5-year-old Australian Shepherd can hardly contain his excitement when his running leash comes out. Omaha World-Herald visual journalist Matt Dixon caught up with his owner as she prepares to show off Murphy's skills.
This is my first dog that I've ever trained to run with.
Murphy is only 1.5. When he was a puppy, we enrolled him in several classes just to get the basic commands down first and etiquette on walking on a leash, training him to try to stay on my right side when we're running with me. He is an Australian Shepherd, so with this breed, you need to slowly increase his mileage. So we just started off with very short distances every couple of weeks, ramp it up another half a mile or so. He doesn't talk back and listens to my bad jokes, and yeah, kind of keeps you away from listening to the music too. I'm occupied working with him throughout the run as well.
Murphy showed off 6 months of training at the Tails and Trills, a local trail race for pooches and their humans this weekend. What a beautiful dog. He tackled the 10K yesterday, more than double what he walked during last year's race. Still ahead on Omaha Sunday Morning, she's proving girl power is a force to be reckoned with. Plus, we go into the archive for a look at some Omaha history. It's time to go into the archives this week. Check out this photo from 1940. Sheriff W.H. Dorrance took a sledgehammer to a confiscated slot machines and other gambling devices. It's reported nearly $200 in nickels, dimes, and pennies were removed from the machines after they were seized by authorities. You can find this photo and many more historic Omaha pictures like it at omaha.com. Omaha is home to one of the strongest weightlifters in the world, and she is a force to be reckoned with. Whether she's going for a new personal best or pushing other lifters to keep going, her motivational force is hard to deny. Omaha World-Herald visual journalist Ryan Soderlin caught up with her at the gym.
Like when you set a PR, it's just personal joy and excitement that, yes, I hit that milestone. I just beat myself. Like that's what you want. But we just say it boils down to those 9 minutes. 3 squats, 3 benches, 3 deadlifts, the hundreds of hours in the gym to show your work that you've done.
I can squat in here 415. Done it once. She's pushing 1.5 times that. She's hitting high 600s, and I mean she's training with 500s or high 400s, depending on what she's doing that time. But she is outlifting, I would say 99.9% of the people in this gym, and probably 99.9% of men and women in the city of Omaha.
Powerlifting is a sport that includes a squat, bench, and deadlift. And it's a strength sport to find out who is the strongest, but also like find out what your max is also. So it is a full body, push it to the max sport. One more.
Me personally, she just motivates me because I look at her numbers, and as another female powerlifter, her numbers are crazy. I mean, her numbers are bigger than most men. So to see a woman doing it just gives me a push to say, yeah, may not be able to do what she does, but it gives me the push to improve my numbers.
Like you can see how the deadlift bar just tears up your hands. I go into a gym, being a girl, and so when anybody talks to me, I'm like, oh, by the way, I'm drug-free. And I say that right away so they can get rid of that assumption. But last year, 2017, I was drug tested 9 times, and 2 of it was blood.
Nobody thinks of a woman as lifting that much weight, and you see it, and you see her overshadow these huge dudes around, and not to mention that the whole natural aspect of it. Steroids are such a huge part of the weightlifting community, and she gets tested all the time, so she's completely natural. It's just an insane amount of strength.
There's this thing called being a GOAT, which is called greatest of all time. And that's my long-term goal. I want to be a household name like Eddie Cohn. Eddie Cohn's a goat. I want to be the girl version of Eddie Cohn. That's what I want. And so you just keep lifting for years and years and building a legacy, winning multiple championships, keep on breaking world records.
That's it.
Oh.
She did it.
There is.
She looks around.
Your
there
winner.
it is. Gold medalist, World Games, world record, Bonica Law.
And I have goals, like I want to be the first girl to officially squat 800 in a competition, equipment-wise. I can't do it raw, that's a lot raw, but equipment. The date. Okay, that's 15, 14, 15, 16. Uh-oh, where's my 17? You know, like, I want to be that. And so you just keep setting goals to keep going because you want to be that person that's in the books, the record books. You know, you want to be the person that's on somebody's wall. You know, you want just to be that name.
I'm in awe. She's absolutely incredible. Talk about girl power there. When Omaha Sunday Morning continues, an area 8th grader is trying to make his community a better place. How his commitment to helping others earned him praise from the White House. Some important life lessons go beyond the classroom. A Westside Middle School student gets good grades, takes part in math club, and still finds time to volunteer. His dedication recently earned him a certificate from the president.
Sie möchte etwas Vertiges essen.
We watched in on Nathan Chan during his German class at Westside Middle School. The 8th grader is an honor roll student.
I don't know if you can ever find a student that's more genuine, sincere, just polite, wonderful, nice to everybody.
Principal Russ Olson describes Nathan as a student who makes the school a better place, and it goes beyond that.
I feel really good helping people.
Nathan has turned his interest into opportunities to give back.
I really believe in reading, so that's why I volunteer for the Omaha Public Library, and I really like working with new technology like 3D printers, so that's why I work at DoSpace.
At DoSpace, he teaches the young and old how to better understand technology. He's also volunteered packing meals at the food bank, helping with events at the Henry Dorley Zoo, and raising money for the Salvation Army. 100 hours spent last year giving to others. Nathan's commitment to service led him to receive the President's Volunteer Service Award.
Certainly as a student to be able to learn how to give back to others and see that they're part of a greater community and they have an integral part of our society is pretty important.
And even during our interview, Nathan showed how much he cares about those around him.
I'd just like to thank my parents for always supporting me, and all the teachers and staff that helped me and encouraged me to volunteer, and my principal for nominating me.
He's such a nice kid. Students and staff at one OPS school are closing out the year with a big groundbreaking. A new addition is in the works for Bryan Middle School. The nearly $4 million, 22,000 square foot project near 42nd and Giles will feature a Boys and Girls Club, Teen and Tween Youth Center. It will also include an additional gym, innovation center, and outdoor patio. The grand opening of Bryan Middle School Boys and Girls Club is scheduled for August 2019 on the first day of school. We've all gotten them, the dreaded robocall claiming you've won a free trip or you can get debt relief. Up next, Omaha World-Herald editorial cartoonist Jeff Katurba has a thing or two to say about those pesky calls. Tired of receiving those annoying robocalls? Who isn't? Omaha World-Herald editorial cartoonist Jeff Katurba is as well, and he swears there is pure evil behind them.
I'm Jeff Katurba. I am the editorial cartoonist for the Omaha World-Herald. Has this ever happened to you? You're minding your own business, drawing a cartoon, when suddenly you get a call from a number you don't recognize. Your first instinct is to ignore it, and so you don't answer. But a few minutes later, there's another call from the same number. Curiosity gets the best of you. It must be important, right? So you answer only to hear,
I'm calling about the application you submitted for the work from home opportunity. Please call us back right away to learn how you can earn up to $6,000 per week using your computer.
Of course, you hang up, but then your phone rings again and again and again, all the time. And to make things more confusing, often the calls come from phone numbers that look a little bit like yours. It's like we're in the Twilight Zone. Or perhaps we're living in an updated version of Gulliver's Travels. My latest cartoon is how I sometimes feel, like I've stumbled into a world filled with robophones attacking me, crawling all over me non-stop. And no matter what you do to get them to stop, hold on, this might be important. Hello?
I'm calling about the
No!
Work from home. Please call us back right away.
So true. That's all for this week. Thanks for watching Omaha Sunday Morning, and we'll see you back here next week at 7 a.m.